don't you think Sally looks a little sad? Do you know that she hasn't had a date with another fella since she broke up with Wally over 7 years ago?
Well, it would be a different story if Sally were a Texas oil heiress.
They say if you want news to travel fast, telegraph, telephone, or tell a woman.
Isn't it a shame that a young girl like Sally has to be burdened with the responsibility of all that money? And frankly, that's why I'm here.
Frankly, that's why he's here, too.
And I got here first.
Wally and I are both so happy. What happened? What did you say to him?
Well, I just told him about all your money, and he ran out as though it were radioactive or something.
All you have to do is call Wally up and tell him that story about you having a lot of money is just an unfounded rumor.
Oh, but I couldn't do that.
Why not?
Because it's true. I am rich. Oh!
Get out of here, everybody out! Get away from my God!
Oh, Wally, then you really do care.
Of course I do. No.
I married Joan. Woo, woo. What a girl, what a world, what a light. Oh, I married Joan. What a mind, love is blind, what a wife.
Joan Davis with Jim Backus in
I married Joan.
Sit there so calmly. Aren't you the least bit excited?
Because our house guest happens to have a date with her boyfriend? Well, to see why that should raise my temperature.
Oh, well, Sally's a dear, sweet girl. And you know something? She's just crazy about Wally. He's stuck on her, too. I know he is. Or otherwise he wouldn't bring her gifts the way he does.
A jar of sour balls. Must have squandered all of 15 cents.
Well, honey, it's the sentiment that counts. Wally doesn't have much money to spend. Besides, when you buy an heiress like Sally, she must have everything.
Hi, Joan.
Oh, hello, Wally. Sally hasn't finished dressing yet. Come on in, sit down.
All right. Hi, Brad.
Oh, how are you, Wally?
Oh, just fine, just fine. I brought a little gift for Sally. Another jar of sour balls. She's crazy about them. You know, I'm crazy about her, too.
Well, we sort of got the idea. Fella doesn't go around giving a girl sour balls for nothing.
Gosh, I love her more than anything in the whole world. And I think she could learn to love me, too. But I just can't seem to propose. Do you suppose you could help me?
Well, Wally, it's really much simpler than you might even imagine. All you have to say is, will you marry me?
That's all?
Well, of course, that's the essential phrase. Now, when I proposed to Joan, I did it in a very romantic manner, mentioning her eyes, her lips, and hair in detail, affirming the affectionate esteem in which I held her, and painting a rosy picture of connubial bliss.
And then he asked me if I loved him, and I pleaded guilty.
Yeah, but I don't think you understand my problem. You see, when I'm with Sally, I get tongue-tied. I know what I want to say, but I can't say it.
Well, why don't you tell it to me, and I'll tell it to Sally?
Oh, Joan, would you? Oh, that's wonderful. Tell her that I think she's the most beautiful girl in the world.
Oh, I think I can remember that. Sally, Wally just came in, and he's really crazy about you. He told me to tell you that you're the most beautiful girl in the world.
He did? Well, you tell him I think he's pretty nice, too.
He's pretty nice, too. Okay.
What did she say?
She said to tell you that she thinks you're pretty nice, too.
Oh, that's it. Boy, you're doing great.
Yeah, pretty good once I get started. Tell her she's the only girl I've ever loved.
One only girl I ever loved. Coming up.
Oh, did you tell Wally what I said?
Yes, and he told me to tell you that you're the only girl he ever loved.
Oh, the darling. Will you tell him that I've never even looked at another man?
Never looked at another man. You know, I almost told that to Brad once.
You did? Well, why didn't you tell him?
Wouldn't have been honest. I peeked. Sally said to tell you that she's never even looked at another man.
Good. Boy, if she ever does, I'm really in trouble. Now what do I say?
Now I think it's time to pop the question.
Well, I hope so. I'm getting winded. You know, it's Proxy playing the part of Joan Alden.
All right. Tell Sally I'm down on my knees and asking her to marry me and change her name to mine.
Sally mine? Oh, Sally Brown. That's a pretty name, too. Sally, Wally got down on his knees and proposed to you.
Oh, at last. You tell him that No. If he wants to marry me, he'll have to ask me in person.
Okay, let's get him while he's hot.
Oh, but Joey, I haven't used my hair yet. Oh, would you please ask Wally to wait a few more minutes?
Okay, but I hope his knees hold out.
Well, did you tell her I want to marry her?
Yes?
Yeah, what did she say?
She's not quite finished with her hair yet.
Well, that isn't exactly yes. It's not exactly no either.
Well, is that all she said?
No, she said that she wants to hear the proposal from your lips, not mine. She'll be out in a couple of minutes. Do you think you can do it?
No, I doubt it. You see, when she's with me, when I'm with her, we're together, and then you haven't, she makes you feel like everything seems to be going, and it bothers me. I mean, I can't follow through, and my backswing is all, I have sort of and they're hard to get now, but when she's not here, it's simple, it's easy to say, Sally, my darling, I love you. Will you marry me?
Oh, of course I'll marry you, Wally. Oh, that's the nicest proposal a girl ever had.
Sally, you're sweet.
Wally, you're sweet. Oh, Brad, you're...
Have a sour ball.
Sally, where did you plan on getting married?
Well, we don't have much time. Wally's vacation starts Monday, and that leaves us only 3 days to prepare. So I thought we'd go down to City Hall.
City Hall? Oh, Sally, don't do it. Brad and I were married at City Hall, and I've always regretted that I didn't have a nice formal wedding with friends and gifts, you know.
Oh, gee, it would be nice. I'd give anything in the world to have a real wedding. Oh, but Wally's apartment's too small, and I wouldn't want to impose on you and Brad.
Impose? Why, Sally, you're one of my dearest friends. Of course you wouldn't be imposing. You can have the wedding here, okay?
Oh, Joan, how wonderful of you.
Now, you just leave everything to me, dear. I'll take care of all the wedding arrangements.
Oh, Joan, I'm so lucky to have a friend like you. But you've got to promise that you'll tell me exactly how much everything costs.
All right, I promise.
You know, you've been so wonderful. Wally and I have decided to name our first child after you.
Hope it isn't a boy.
Would you kindly inform Mrs. Stevens that Mr. Saxton is here?
I'm Mrs. Stevens.
Oh, I expected an older woman.
Really? Won't you come in, Mr. Saxton?
Well, thank you. Oh, lovely place you have here. You decorated it yourself, didn't you?
Well, yes. How did you know?
Well, in our business, we learn to make snap judgments and to recognize good taste when we see it.
Oh, thank you. You're so nice. Well, now, as I explained to you on the phone, we only have 3 days. Do you think that will be enough time for you to do what you want with this room?
Madam, 1 day is all I need to do what I want with this room.
Now, listen, I would like this to be your very, very best job because the girl who's getting married is an heiress, and I'm sure that she wouldn't want to spare any expense.
Oh, well, I wouldn't think of denying her that pleasure. Now, over that doorway, I think we'll have a lovely floral arch, just smothered with orchids. We can fly them in from Hawaii.
Fly in the orchid?
Well, we can always use domestic, but there's really no comparison when you consider the difference is a mere couple of $100.
Oh, of course, for a couple of $100, why should we be mere?
Well, fine, then that's settled. And I think along with the arrangement, we could use a flock of beautiful white doves.
Are they domestic, or are you going to fly them in, too?
No, they're domestic. That is, unless you prefer genuine Syrian lovebirds.
No, I don't think that'll be necessary. None of our guests will speak Syrian anyway.
Hello, dear.
Darling, this is Mr. Saxton, my husband, Judge Stevens. Mr. Saxton is taking care of all the wedding details.
Oh, Wally and Sally's wedding. Well, that's fine. Where's it going to be, dear?
Here. We're in an awful hurry, Brad. Now, what were you saying, Mr. Saxton?
Well, now, I will furnish the silverware and the linens and whatever additional seating arrangements are required, and I will attend to all the catering. Now, how many guests do you expect?
Oh, I guess about 50.
50 guests?
Well, now, let me see. A sit-down dinner for 50 guests would run you around $300.
$300? Now, wait a minute. This has gone far enough. If you think I'm going to pay $300 for a dinner, you have another guest come. No, dear. No. This is ridiculous, Joan.
Brad, will you please calm down? You're forgetting that Sally is an heiress and she's paying for everything.
Well, dear, I don't care if Sally is. On the other hand, if Sally wants to spend that kind of money on her wedding, go ahead. It's her wedding, not mine.
Oh, splendid. Now, about the music, would you prefer an organ or a string quartet?
Well, I think I'd like the quartet.
Oh, come on, Joan. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. String quartet is nothing. Let's get an 8-piece orchestra.
I think you're right, Brad. Mr. Saxton, better make that 2 quarts. A quartet.
Yippee, we got the license. Now bring on the possum.
Oh, no. Joni, I told Wally all about having the wedding here, and he thinks it's just wonderful of you.
Yes, and remember, we want to know how much everything costs.
Don't worry, I'll let you know. I promised Sally that I'd tell her. And just think, kids, for the wedding, well, this wall is going to be smothered with orchids. Little white doves are going to be flying all over, and we're going to have a sit-down dinner, and the orchestra will be playing a show.
Wally, doesn't this sound like something out of a fairy tale?
It's wonderful.
Joni, I'll always be grateful to you for this.
Oh, Sally, if you can't put on the dog when you're an heiress, when can you do it?
Oh, well, I'm not really much of an heiress. Grandpa lets me a lot of money, but it's all tied up in trust. Actually, all I get is about $100 a month.
$100 a month?
Yes, and that's why I wanted to know exactly how much the wedding's going to cost. Because someday when Wally makes good, we're going to pay you back every single penny.
I've got a terrific idea for the wedding, see? See, we hire a helicopter for $100 or maybe $200. Makes no difference to Sally, does it?
No, it makes no difference to Sally.
Well, anyway, you see, right after the ceremony, when the bride and groom leave the house, the helicopter follows the car, dropping rice on them all the way to Yellowstone National Park.
Well, Brad, I've been thinking, dear, maybe we're overdoing this. There's such a thing as good taste, you know. And even though Sally's an heiress, she shouldn't fling her trust fund in people's faces.
Well, no, dear, I believe that everything should be done in good taste, but it's the girl's wedding. She's entitled to splurge a little.
Yes, but there's no sense in going overboard. For instance, why fly orchids in from Hawaii?
You mean try to get by with domestic orchids?
Well, no, it's just that orchids are so common lately. I was thinking of using something different, like dandelions. Yes, and they're so handy. The backyard is just full of them. Oh, and another thing. Why go to all the trouble of getting white doves?
Well, I don't know, dear. It goes with weddings. You know, the dove is a symbol of love and peace.
Yes, but it seems like such a waste of money, even for an heiress. Now, I could borrow Mrs. Watson's parrot.
A parrot?
Get a 10-cent can of white enamel, and if we can get the bird to keep his mouth shut, nobody will know the difference.
Look, dear, I see this wedding in an entirely different light than you do. And listen, how about some good music? Say, let's get Guy Lombardo or Spade Cooley. Listen, I'll call that Saxon fella and tell him. Dear, what is his number?
Laurel 8962. Brad, you're making a mistake.
Oh, you're going to do it? Do it right. No cheaper halfway measure than me. No, sir. Hello, Mr. Saxon. This is Judge Stevens. Yes, well, I'm fine. Mr. Saxon, I would like to cancel the double quartet and get...
Brad, dear, there's been a misunderstanding. Sally's money is all tied up in a trust fund, and we're going to have to pay for everything.
Oh, it's so nice to be surrounded by your friends and have a lovely wedding. Oh, Joan, you'll never know how much we owe you.
Don't worry, Brad will keep reminding me. Sally, about the music for the wedding.
Of course, for a while, we were considering a string quartet.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Yes, on the other hand, those musicians would be four perfect strangers sitting in on one of the most intimate moments of your life. Would you want that?
Gee, I never thought of it that way. Maybe we better not have the quartet.
Well, wait a minute. Who's going to play Here Comes the Bride?
Well, I was coming to that. And now, Brad whistles beautifully. Show him, dear.
Well, of course, you understand that I'm a little out of practice, but...
That's what I like about it. It's different.
Oh, well, your menu, Joan. Champagne, caviar, hors d'oeuvres, duck bigarade, hearts of artichoke, asparagus hollandaise, souffle potatoes. For dessert, baked Alaska.
Oh, boy, I'm drooling already. I can hardly wait to sit down at the table.
Well, we were thinking about having that. But then Brad came up with a wonderful idea.
It was nothing.
What was it? Well, instead of going in for such an expensive dinner, Brad thought it would be a wonderful gesture to donate the money to a very worthy cause. So we thought, if it'd be all right with you folks, we'd serve them beer and sandwiches.
Well, anyway, I stopped drooling.
And another thing, I think that we ought to cut way, way down on the guest list. Because, you see, all the men would be kissing Sally, and by the time she got around to you, she'd be all puckered out.
I'm sorry, Joni, but I can't go along with your suggestion. Besides, we can't cut down on the guest list that we agreed on, and we can't have the wedding without music. I think it'd be absolutely insulting to the guests to serve them beer and sandwiches.
I can do better than that at a free lunch counter.
Joan, I should have known better than to listen to you when you asked us to have the wedding here. I was warned to watch out for your meddling. What? It's true. Everybody in town says you're a busybody.
That's ridiculous. I don't know everybody in town.
I'll not spend another night in this house, much less get married in it.
Sally.
You heard what I said. The wedding's off.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's what you think. I say the wedding is on.
It's off.
Oh, yes, well, we're going to see about that.
Joni, what's the matter with you? If Sally wants to call up the wedding, let her. Then you won't be stuck for all that money.
Yeah. Then with all the money I save, I can buy them a beautiful wedding gift. What am I saying? I'll buy them nothing.
We found out about them when we did. This way we didn't get hurt very much.
Yeah. How do you like that, Sally? Calling me a busybody after all the trouble I went to. Borrowing Mrs. Watson's parrot. Painting him white so he looked like a dove. You ought to heard what that bird said to me. Language.
What did he say?
Well, what would you say if somebody slopped 2 coats of white enamel on you?
He didn't.
He did?
Well, anyway, dear, you're out of it, and you'd better call Mr. Saxon and tell him to cancel the whole thing.
You're right, Brad. Well, what is it now, my dear old friend?
You're a fine one to be talking about friendship. Here.
Thank you. You had no right calling me a busybody, Sally. I would have gone through with the wedding. I would have had the 50 guests, and the sit-down dinner, and the flying ducks, and doves, and the string quartet. There's nothing small about me.
Well, if you're willing to do all that, then we'll go ahead with the wedding. After all, there's nothing small about me either.
Well, there goes your household money again. Now what have you got to say?
What I've got to say now would make Mrs. Watson's parrot blush right through his white enamel.
Joni, I've been going over Mr. Saxon's bill. It's going to be more than $1,000.
I'd be sick now if I thought we could afford a doctor.
Never thought I'd be best man for a fellow I dislike so much. This wedding is going to be more like a funeral.
Well, what's the difference? You're ready for either occasion. Well, we've got 4 hours until the wedding. You know, we ought to have a rehearsal so we know what we're doing. And when is the happy groom arriving?
He said he'd be here, and he will.
Well, I doubt it.
I know. Look. We don't have to be friends, but at least we can be civil if we're going through this together. To keep up appearances for the guests.
Sally, you look lovely.
And I can't wait to get you out of here.
Yes. Well, let's start the rehearsal, shall we?
Well, what do you want us to do?
Well, Brad, you'll have to give the bride away.
It'll be a pleasure.
Yes. Now, you two stand right up there in the archway. And, Wally, you stand over here where the ceremony will be. Yes. Now, I'll be the bridesmaid. We'll need a best man. Frieda, you'll be the best man. And I think you are. Yes. Well, you stand right over here by the groom. Gee, I've been a bridesmaid before, but I've never been a groomsmaid.
Here, you hold the ring.
Now,
There in your hand.
let's see. Now, you bring Sally down the aisle. And wait a minute. We need something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Here, this old bit right here. It's old, it's borrowed, it's blue, very... There we are. All right, now, Brad, you bring Sally down the aisle, dear. That's it, right down. Nice and right. A sharp turn to the right here. That's it. Now, you stand right next to the groom.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I always cry at weddings.
Well, at least one of us is enjoying himself. Brad, dear, will you play the part of the preacher?
Yes.
Okay, start the ceremony.
All right. We are gathered here together to join this couple in the bonds of matrimony. Do you, Wally, take Sally to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love, cherish, and honor till death do you part?
I do.
And do you, Sally, do you take Wally to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love, honor, cherish, until death do you part?
I do.
Is there anyone here who has any reason that this pair should not be united in marriage? Speak up now, forever hold his peace. I suppose that you have the ring?
Of course I've got the ring.
All right, ring.
Put the ring on the finger. Repeat after me. With this ring I do thee wed.
With this ring I do thee wed.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Well, any chump that wants to can kiss the bride now. Frieda, what are you crying about? This wasn't a real wedding. It had to be a real wedding. Judge Stevens is a real judge, isn't he?
Yes, but I was only... She's right. I married them. You have a license, haven't you? You bet.
What? My husband!
My wife!
No, I wish you all the luck in the world, and I'm sorry I was such an old meanie.
Oh, Joni, it was just as much my fault as it was yours, and we'll never quarrel again.
We're all packed. Let's go on the honeymoon.
We just had it. There's no use going through it again. Come on.
Here we go. Oh, wait a minute, Sally. Wait. Have we forgotten anything?
Oh, yes, you have.
Oh, what's that?
You forgot to pay Brad $5 for the ceremony.
Their plane ought to be halfway there by now. Gee, how I envy them. Going to Yellowstone National Park for a whole week. Gosh, I wish we'd spent our honeymoon there.
It would have been nice, but don't you remember? We got married on my lunch hour, and I had to go back to work.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get it there.
Well, here we are. We'll have all this up in just a moment, folks. That's right. Where they are. Chairs, will you? Hurry, come on. And be careful of those dogs.
Well, Brad, didn't you call Mr. Saxton and cancel the arrangement?
Well, no, I thought you were going to.
No, I canceled the guest.
Oh, Judge Mrs. Stevens, may I present Mr. Lewis who will perform the ceremony?
Oh, yeah.
Where is the happy couple? We should get started. Mr. Lewis has 2 more weddings, a christening, and a...
Well, I know, but there's a bit of mistake. You see, the couple was supposed to be married. They were married.
Well, all I can say is all this has to be paid for.
It has to.
Well, it
Of
does?
course, yes.
Well, in that case, Mr. Saxon, we'll have Mr. Lewis marry us all over again. Then we can go to Yellowstone National Park for a second honeymoon.
But, dear, we can't afford to go away. This is costing $1,000.
Yeah, but if it's coming out of my household money, we can't afford to stay home.
Oh, no.
Shall we proceed? May I remind you to hurry? Mr. Lewis is double parked.
All right, we all gathered here tonight to unite these two people in marriage.
Oh, yes, one big violin.
Although it is known to on the sea of matrimony, when two people decide to share the happiness and trouble of life.
Oh, yes, here comes the bride.
Well, I'll be a dirty bird.
What a mind, love is fine, what a wife. Giddy and gay, only she keeps my heart laughing. Never know where her brain has gone. To each his own. Can't deny that's why I married Joan.
Seen in tonight's cast were Wally Brown, Sally Kelly, Joe Kearns, Maxine Semon, and Billy Bletcher.